I served for 39 years. Ordination. And I remember my 9th anniversary of ordination, I turned to my wife and I said, "Do you realize I have been preaching 3 times longer than Christ?" "Ah, yes, my love. But it's quality, not quantity, that counts." My brothers and sisters, we have a great quality members of this Holy Synod. In some instances, we may have fallen short. In truth, we have fallen short. We talk about the ability to lead. The perception is that your bishop is the leader. But he is not the only leader. He has diocesan councils. He has clergy and laity that advise him. His heart, his mind is not closed. Yes, I'm the leader of almost 2 dioceses, but I have 3,000 bosses, my brothers and sisters. And every single one of them has my phone number. My brothers on the Holy Synod, it appears that we are dysfunctional. Well, look how we dress. Perhaps the appearances that we have exist without oversight or discipline. In our discussions, my brothers and sisters, we advise each other. We tell each other what the best avenues are. We share problems. We share issues. We share ways to serve our flocks, not to govern our flocks. What steps do we plan to reestablish trust? We don't reestablish trust. We don't reestablish confidence. This has to be earned. As I mentioned, I take care of 2 dioceses. One is an ethnic diocese. I grew up in it. They know me, they know the family, they know the history. So basically it's not really a real problem there. They basically knew me, they trusted me. When I had the diocese in New England, they basically knew I was a basically normal person, but it takes time to build a relationship. It takes time to build that relationship of trust, of confidence. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by decree. It doesn't happen by clerical right. So we cannot simply re-establish trust. We have to re-earn it. But I don't know any member of the Holy Synod that does not love their flock, does not love their communities, and in some instances, love serving. Orthodox unity has been our goal since the beginning. We saw that this evening. And the devil has been fighting us all these years. What does one do to establish Orthodox unity? Well, in America. Well, 14 trips to Russia doesn't do that. Maybe 14 lunches with the Antiochians and the Greeks and the Bulgarians and everybody else would establish unity. And we will be asking who's paying for those lunches. What was the Metropolia? Reached out to evangelize this land to what was the Syrians at the time, the Albanians at the time, the Bulgarians, the Romanians. It's our turn to reach out. This has to be part of our strategic plan. My brothers and sisters, we talk about conciliarity, the Holy Synod, the clergy, the Metropolitan Council, the All-American Council. We're not enemies. We're on the same side. We're on the same goal. What we have to make sure is that each and every one of us are on Christ's side. The blessing of the Lord be with you.
Your Eminences, Your Graces, Reverend Fathers, delegates, chairs, chair people, chairpersons, chairmen. I'll address you on the one that I'm alone capable of, which is the clarification about the Romanian diocese, which is on page 2, at least of this as we received it. As you all know, the Romanian Episcopate came into the Orthodox Church in America in 1960. And so for those 10 years, Archbishop, at that time, Bishop Valerian, was I think the only non-Russian bishop on the Holy Synod until 1970, when the autocephaly was proclaimed, at which time the Episcopate again reaffirmed that it wanted to be part of the Orthodox Church in America. And so from 1970 until 1990 is 20 years. And during those 20 years, the Episcopate also was under siege from abroad, as the Russian Metropolia Greek Catholic Church was, by those communist agents of destruction in Russia and those who tried to, in some way, influence or control the church in North America. The Romanian Episcopate had the same thing. And our Archpastor of beloved memory, Archbishop Valerian, suffered greatly for his constant efforts to keep the church, the Romanian Episcopate in North America, a free church from out of the hands of godless agents. However, in 1990, Archbishop Valerian retired in 1984, I was elected in 1980 as auxiliary bishop, and in 1984 I was nominated by the Episcopate Congress, and then by the Holy Synod to be the titular bishop, ruling bishop of the Episcopate. So from 1984 into 1990, those 6 years were years in which we continued to be aware of the pressures from abroad, but they weren't quite as before perhaps because I was an American and maybe it wasn't so easy to make efforts against the church as it was with the Romanian government against the Romanian national. And so in 1990, when the Romanian government changed, from that time on, the Episcopate responded to the needs of the Romanian people with financial assistance and other goods and things, and acknowledged that our church, the Orthodox Church in America, at that time, from the parishes, 1990, 1991, collected over $40,000 in cash for that support through the Episcopate. So I re-acknowledge that now. Thereafter, there were efforts on the part of some of our people here, clergy, lay people, to at least reestablish a benefit of concelebrating with the Romanian patriarchal diocese in North America, from which had been established in 1952 by the Holy Synod of the Church of Romania. And from that time on, we were separated 60 years, as it were. And there was an effort to reconcile through the sharing of the sacraments, whereas before we didn't concelebrate. It wasn't anything written, it was just a fact. They were them and we are we, and we know that there were differences of opinion. But shortly thereafter, we wrote a letter to the Patriarch, at that time of blessed memory, Theoctist, and asked him, who do you think we are? And what does the Patriarchate consider about Archbishop Valerian and myself as successors to the first bishop, Bishop Polycarp Marushka, who came in 1935 and died in Romania in 1958, estranged from his diocese. And the Patriarch responded, yes, we recognize your canonical status, we recognize that you have sacraments, we recognize everything about you. And so from that time on, we concelebrated, we did some things together, but not all that much. And as time went on and Archbishop Victorine fell asleep in the Lord, and there was a period of the absence of a bishop, and in time a new bishop was elected, much younger than Archbishop Victorine. And it appeared that with the immigration of many Romanian faithful and also clergy, of which today probably 95% of my clergy are from abroad, that there was this realization that the communist government was no more, that perhaps it was time to reconcile as brethren. And that came about in the sense of establishing a committee of 5 from both dioceses to work together to see is there a possibility that the Archdiocese of the Romanian Patriarchate would come into the Orthodox Church in America. And there was also the invitation on the part of the episcopate to join with the Romanian Patriarchate. On our part, we established that committee and gave them the blessing, and with the consent of the Congress to say, yes, go forward and see what can be done to resolve this disunion of 60 years and the difficulties that are there of counter-parishes, counter-clergy, those things that are not from God, division. And so our committees work together and separately, and they came to a point more recently in the last 5 years to say, is there a possibility at all of reconciliation of the two dioceses, and how would it be done? The response of the Romanian Archdiocese is that inasmuch as the world at large, the Orthodox world, as they would see it at large, does not recognize the autocephaly, the unique autocephaly of the Orthodox Church in America, they were not prepared to come into the Orthodox Church in America. And so on our part we said, well, let's see if something can be done whereby both dioceses can come together, but in a unique way, unique to the American situation, which, as we all know, for which there's no canonical response, or at least some would say there is none. Some would say, yes, there are, or is. That would have been through the autocephaly of the Orthodox Church in America. And so we came to work out and really to struggle with how can this be done, and what would it entail, and how would it look. And so what came out was a document, a proposal from the part of both the Archdiocese and the Episcopate to unite in some way that would be as autocephalic as could be, but without, of course, being autocephalous in the way that the Russian Orthodox Greek Catholic Church became autocephalous. With the election of a new patriarch, excuse me, Patriarch Daniel of Romania, and with the effort of the dialogue group, as we called it, there was a consideration as how autonomous could this new entity be without calling it autocephaly. And so there came up a term which is a term which was created, maximal autonomy. Those of you who have read it on the website, our website, can read those 20 points, which are not finalized. The best I could say about it is that what would be the relationship with the Romanian Patriarchal Church, or the Church of Romania, would be that if there was a metropolia, the Metropolitan alone would commemorate the Patriarch of Romania, and that the Holy Chrism would come from there. Would be complete administrative autonomy in the election of all hierarchs, and in a local synod which would have no relationship to the synod in Romania. The statutes would be not subject to the Holy Synod nor to the Church of Romania, and that this would be guaranteed by the Romanian Church not to reestablish itself in North America. And that's about where we are with that process. It hasn't been presented to the Holy Synod in Romania, although they're quite aware of it. It's still in the area of being hammered out. And at this time, there are 4 members of the Dialogue Committee here, Fathers Lawrence Lazar, Father Kathleen Mitescu, Father Remus Grama, and Father Ian Packerar. I don't think they came because I was going to get this question, but I'm glad to see them here along with other members of my diocese. The question is, how do the bishops view this? That document of the process, the proposal, which has not yet been proposed officially, I presented it first to our Holy Synod this year, then to my diocesan council, and then to my diocesan assembly. So I brought to the Holy Synod first this proposal, which some of the hierarchs were very disappointed. Others didn't make a judgment per se, and others said, well, let's see what happens in the end. His Beatitude Herman said, well, inasmuch as you haven't asked anything, we're not going to say anything, because it was a proposal not yet made. Over the years, since 1990, I believe, or 91, 92, whenever there was any kind of a breakthrough or development or any kind of action that I thought the Holy Synod should know about, in fact, I was questioned not more than one time by His Beatitude Theodosius, and there should be in the archives of our church a rather large volume of my reporting to the Holy Synod along the way. There was nothing hidden by me, nor my diocese. Over the years, there were articles and opinions printed in the Solia newspaper, to which you can all subscribe. That would help us greatly if you would. And where does it stand today? It stands just that. A proposal yet not proposed. And so you're going to ask me, how does this help Orthodox unity in North America, or does it? I was pleased when the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia reconciled itself with the Church of Russia. And I saw that you were pleased as well when yesterday we welcomed a representative of the Holy Synod of the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia in America. And I thought, well, maybe as the Autocephalous Church in North America, we should protest. Why are you reestablishing here? And I thought maybe we should protest the presence of the patriarchal Russian churches still in North America. And maybe as a Holy Synod over the years, we ought to have protested the presence of the Greek Archdiocese, the Antiochian Archdiocese, the Serbian Diocese, and on and on and on, if we are the local Autocephalous Church with our own territory. However, I did read the Tomos, which in some of my articles that I've written, I thought was a little bit weak, because I wanted unity in North America, and we should speak out and bring everybody to the line. But the Tomos said that the Church of Russia, in granting the autonomy, the autocephaly, recognized that in time, those other jurisdictions, by the grace of God, would come to recognize that they were welcome into the Orthodox Church in America, and that with time this would happen. And so on that review, not a few times, of that document, the document of the Tomos, I thought that seems to be the hope of the Church of Russia in 1970, and it continues to be the hope of the Orthodox Church in America today. Is and would the existence of a separate Romanian metropolia in North America be a rejection of the autocephaly of the Orthodox Church in America? Some would say yes. Some would say, let's see what happens with it. What it does, the proposal is that it brings together two groups of the same church, mother church, for us, the Romanians, as it has for the Orthodox Church in America with the Church of Russia, which we continue to say is the mother church, which it is of the Orthodox Church in America. And so what would happen in time, that this metropolia, which according to the proposal, which again I say you can read that on the website, www.roea.org, and see that the proposal there is still in the making, but that according to what we consider, it may be an option for other jurisdictions as well. If the mother churches, other churches who have daughters here, are not prepared to give the blessing for them to come into the Orthodox Church in America, perhaps what will be in time is a flowering of maximally autonomous metropolias in North America working together, overcoming that tie, as was brought up a number of times here, with the foreign church or foreign mother churches.